When people think about Ubisoft, they think of the big franchises like Prince of Persia, Assassin's Creed, and Splinter Cell. Maybe people think of their great games like Prince of Persia: Sands of Time and Assassin's Creed 2. Maybe some people think of their not so good games like Assassin's Creed Unity and Watch Dogs 2. Maybe some people think of whatever the fuck this is. But I know one game to trump them all, one game that sits atop of the Ubisoft's catalogue of games, undefeated as the greatest game ever to come out of the current generation of consoles. The Crew.
You mean that racing game?
It's more than just a racing game. It's a way of life. Now I know what you're all thinking, James, you do this all the time, you make satirical videos, mocking games, and people get angry at you for it. Well, not this time, old chap, because I can say with complete certainty that The Crew is a game I love dearly. I'm going to do my best to explain, but also keep in mind I'm very biased towards racing games, and so what I say may be very specific to me, and the game itself may be incredibly mediocre, and I'm just blinded by my love of cars and racing within video games, because I don't really enjoy over those things in real life, but there's something that draws me to both those things in video games. Let's begin! Think of your standard racing game. Forza, Gran Turismo, Asphalt 8. Got one of those in your head? Now throw it away because The Crew is better than all of them. The driving is solid and feels grounded and fun, which is obviously important in a game where all you do is copious amounts of fucking driving. Each car feels different depending on the type of car and the tuning you do to it. Whether the cars feel like they're meant to in real life is another question entirely, but then again, I don't really care, and let's be honest, who does? It's just fun. The mechanics are responsive and makes everything feel intuitive. Braking is quick and sharp to avoid collisions, handbrakes are easy and help to keep momentum on turns, and just turning the car feels solid and weighty, meaning you aren't sliding all over the place like Grand Theft Auto fucking 4. Fuck. I hate this fucking game. A huge part of this game is the travelling, since the game is set in the entire United States. You have a huge playground for your driving, and no, it's not just a downscale version to fit a normal map. This thing is huge. Side note, it is obviously a downscale, but I mean, the map is still very big. Like, it's not the size of a normal map like Forza Horizon. It's far, far, far bigger. It can take you nearly 2 hours to drive across the entire thing, which is fucking mental. Alternatively, you can fast travel, but that's for pussies. Real men and women drive everywhere. Alright, we're all ready, lads? We're all ready for our trip? Perfect. Fantastic. Let's get going.
2 hours later.
Honey! Will you make it shut up or throw it out the fucking car? The areas are diverse with places like Miami, New York, Los Angeles, and everywhere in between. You'll find new places to explore on your adventure, and all that is only part of the fun. On top of that, you'll have so many different mission types to engage in, ranging from, but not limited to, race through checkpoints, A to B, escape, eliminate, collect, and pursuit. All of these change depending on the environment you're in or the type of car that is for that specific race. You could have a dirt race, a street race, an official race, the space race. Okay, not that last one. But there's so many different variations on these already diverse modes. Not to mention, while you're traveling the world, you'll have these various tests you can do to make your traveling even more hardcore. You have speed test, slalom test, precision test, gathering test, car test, straight line test, hill jump test, and escape test. And from all of these, you're collecting XP and car parts and competing online with friends on the leaderboard to see who can be the best at making a car go vroom. With so much to see and do, you're never going to get bored unless you've done and seen everything, and then so you get bored. But it's okay because The Crew 2 is coming out on June 29th with more things to do, including planes that turn into fucking boats. I didn't really play it. I'm more of a lone wolf, but it's there, so it's that. I can't really talk about a driving game in 2018 without talking about the graphics. It seems like a requirement of games nowadays to look the best as possible, and The Crew doesn't disappoint. Something that really bugs me is the fact that when I first got this game, I swear to fuck, it looked like a shit arcade game, and somehow Ubisoft broke into my house while I was asleep and replaced it with this gorgeous game. It's certainly not the best visuals ever, but it does look fantastic, and every car is modeled very, very well. I think the only issue is with the draw distance in open areas, and the resolution can look a bit naff half because of the awful anti-aliasing. But then again, we do have The Crew 2 coming June 29th, and that's going to support 4K, so we can all be fucking happy. The different environments look great with a unique feel, and the different weathers help to do this too. The visuals certainly assist in the exploration department, meaning you could visit New York in the sun, overcast, or during a thunderstorm, and it's always going to be interesting. And the same could be applied to the game world. So what I'm really saying, in a very long-winded, convoluted, and slightly pretentious way, the game looks really nice, and driving around it is honestly a delight. And also, look at this photo mode. It's fucking gorgeous. I could do this all day. So this game has a story, I think. It follows a bloke called Alex, who's a secret undercover spy agent man, and he has to work his way up through the street racing gangs to arrest people for driving their cars too fast. But along the way, he actually ends up finding a taste for driving and becomes a gang member, and the second game picks up with you at the top of the gang, having to take the fight back to the cops that sent you on your mission. Did you like that story? Well, forget it, because I made it up. I have no idea really what the story is. There's definitely one, but it's kind of my fault for not really paying attention during the cutscenes. It's kind of interesting that there even is a story. Racing games don't really need them or often use them, so the fact they try to do anything at all is pretty cool in my opinion. Now this part of the game is a bit of a double-edged sword. The extent of the customization and range of cars in the game is very, very nice. There was plenty of different types of cars and different cars within those categories. From muscle cars to sports cars to hatchbacks and everything else, there's plenty of different vehicles, all of which can be upgraded both visually and performance-wise. There's plenty of colours to choose from, along with car parts and amazing stickers. Oh god, I just can't escape it! But the problem here is with how the system actually works. Allow me to describe to you a single process I had whilst trying to buy a car. I returned to the hideout to check what cars I had stored. I checked the collection to see which cars I needed or wanted. After doing that, I needed to visit a car dealer to actually buy it, so I drove miles to get to one. Upon arriving, I found they only sell certain cars. However, I could view all the possible cars, and instead of being able to simply just buy the car I wanted from that menu, I had to select the car, choose to fast travel to another store, purchase the car there, then I found I was halfway across the map in fucking Los Angeles. That was far more long-winded than it ever needed to be, and whoever allowed that system into the game needs to be promptly removed from games development and never allowed to return again. And since this is a Ubisoft game, of course there are going to be microtransactions. I hate microtransactions, but this is The Crew, so I love them and I'll buy all of them. The real issue with these microtransactions is that they're in the store. You can see these cars. They aren't in a separate menu for microtransactions. They're just there. And it clutters the various stores with cars you can't even fucking buy unless you bend over and let Microsoft fuck you while they empty your wallet into their mouth. Sorry. I got a bit too personal. The issue here isn't necessarily with the microtransactions themselves, as they're not overly expensive and there are so many cars in the game as it is. The issue is that they all sit within the normal game as if they're part of the game and I just need to fork out my credit card in order to access these things. It's really fucking annoying and I hate it a lot, but it's The Crew, so I don't hate it too much. Even if I do love this game and have spent a far bit of time gushing about how wonderful it is, I suppose I should talk about the negatives, other than the ones I already mentioned. And go. The menus all look so similar that I have trouble remembering whether I can access something from a car dealer, the HQ, or a tuner, so I spend simply too long going to each of them to find out it wasn't any of them at all, and I can actually be found in my fucking phone. The layout of the collections page is utterly horrible and confuses the shit out of me. What is this? Why does it look like this? The HUD is kind of all over the fucking place. I guess I could remove it, but then I lose crucial information about the game. It should be minimal or out of sight when irrelevant. The game shouldn't have to be always online. I get they're trying to create this shared world, but at least let me pause the game to take a sip of my drink.
I'm so thirsty. What am in the race?
Other than those things, I can't really think of any issues with the overall game, at least from my personal standpoint. You may buy the game and find it's not at all what you wanted, and that's fair, but as racing games go, for me, The Crew is exactly what I wanted.
Okay. No, I got all of them.
I fucking hate this game. Thanks for joining me. This new style seems to be the way I want to go with videos. If you enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like and comment, and maybe subscribe if you're new. If you're feeling extra generous or want some extra content, why not check out my Patreon business? You might find something you enjoy over there. Thank you all so much for your support, and I'll see you later on.